Hey, YouTube and Instagram, it's Gordon Miller. Hey, how are you doing? It's been a while. Sorry, I'm actually like 15 minutes late. Whoops, for today's live at 5. But anyway, and I know it's been a while since I actually went live. I'm not sure how long, but I've been really busy working on some amazing opportunities. So I look forward to sharing those with you guys as we move forward. So today, today has been the first day, so we had like a major hurricane come through here, tropical storm, and cleared everything out. It's the first day it hasn't been like 100 degrees in real feel, so it's been hard to go live outside. You know, my office and stuff isn't bad, but you know, it's been great to be able to get outside. I've got a Cohiba Black Gigante here. I'm going to light up and enjoy it. It's been my first time in, I think, like a month or so. I have also have a red Solo cup full of ice water. Amazing. And then today, instead of the typical beverage, today it's all about Johnny Walker Blue. So, amazing scotch. So, perfectly paired with the Cohiba Gigante Black Edition. So, anyway, so let's get started. Let's talk about what I posted in the subject for today was so I'll get to that in a minute on Lebanon. I'm getting a message on Instagram. Did I see the explosions in Lebanon? It was a fireworks factory, from what I understand. It's a pretty impressive video, but I don't think that it's anything to be concerned about specifically. So, but no, it's all good. I mean, I don't like to see anything blow up like that. I'm sure people were injured or killed. So. It's not ideal for for a lot of reasons, but anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to talk today about the business ecosystem, and we're going to talk about the fact that in order to really be successful, you have to understand the full range of overall options, and those options involve everything from angel investors, or for crowdsourcing angel investors, venture capital, private equity, investment banking, and kind of understanding the way it all works together. And I think a lot of people are so focused on what their piece of that is. So they're focused on the pieces that they come into contact with. But I think it's important to have a roadmap for the total process, so you know kind of where you're at. There are some choices you can make along the way, which will actually preclude you from being able to take advantage of different options as you go forward. There are choices that you can make in terms of debt, in terms of overall private debt, and with banks and other either private lenders or public lenders. There are choices that you'll make in terms of angel investors and some other things like that. And there's a lot of choices you can make along the way in terms of which venture capital firm or which private equity company that you decide to do business with that will make all the difference in the world as you continue to move forward. And so, in fact, if you want to go public, or even if you're a public company, you want to take it private, and you got private banks and hedge funds and investment brokers and other things like that that will manage those. It's kind of important to kind of understand kind of where those things are going. And so I thought we'd talk about that for a minute. Let me light up. Hang on a second. That's not working. Let's try something else here. My apologies. My wife has really bad stage 4 arthritis, like I do, and we were at her appointment to get her x-rays done so that she can see her rheumatologist. And so unfortunately, I got back here a little later than I expected for live at 5. I got here right at 5 o'clock. So it took me a little bit to, get, my phones and get everything set up. So anyway, one of the things that I wanted to talk about was just the fact of understanding kind of where, what the ecosystem is like and how the overall business models work. So, first of all, um, I wanted to kind of address one thing. So, I'm on Instagram, I'm on LinkedIn, and I welcome you guys to join me. I have approaching 300,000 followers right now in my space on Quora, on the Truth Unfiltered. Thank you guys. I really appreciate that. I love every one of you. And about 158,000 or so profile followers. So thank you all very much. But the thing for me is that I get probably about 100 requests a week for, will I review your particular opportunity? Will I look at your pitch deck? Will I, can I schedule, can you schedule a call? Can you, do whatever? And it even, I have to say, I get a number of requests a week from, people that ask if I'm married. Yes, I'm married, 22 years. And I don't care how young and how beautiful you are. That's not going to change. So, appreciate that. I'm flattered, but thank you. No. But the great thing for me, though, in terms of the ability to work in venture capital and private equity, as I've done for much of the last 12 years, is the fact that I've developed a pattern that works in terms of which kind of opportunities are really the ones that I want to spend the time and focus on, and understand. Anybody at all who wants to contact me and spend half an hour or an hour talking to me can go to gordonmiller.com, click on the booking link, and book a call. And yes, it costs money, but understand this. I had somebody come. I do this. I probably respond to again most of those 100 a week by with the fact that, look, I have 300,000 followers. And I can't schedule a 30-minute call with everybody for free because if I did that, I would be spending like 50 hours a week doing nothing but on free calls that 99% of them aren't going to lead anywhere. So if you want to spend a half an hour or an hour and you want to invest the time and the money, then I'll invest the time if you invest the money. And a half an hour of my time is $125. An hour of my time is $250. And most of the calls go over the time, so it's no big deal. But the reality is that if you look at my LinkedIn profile and you look at all the recommendations for people who scheduled calls that changed their lives is undeniable. And you look at what they and again, I don't edit their comments. I do ask that anybody that schedules a call will post a review. And I don't not post a review. I don't tell them what to say. I don't edit their comments. They can say whatever they want, good, bad, or not. And they, and I've had a couple of people say, hey, it was good. I think I got some valuable insights out of it, but I probably wouldn't schedule another one. Okay, great. I get that. It's not for everybody, but hopefully you got enough value out of the call that you did do. And that's kind of the first step. And understand, people will ask me, so what do I do to prepare for the call? And for me, it's like, well, I don't do anything. I show up and I take my 35 years of experience and I tell you exactly what I know, what I think about what you want to do. So I have some insights into just about everything. I certainly have an opinion on everything. And so the benefit to you is that you get some feedback. You get a half an hour of my time or more. And you get a chance to get some feedback on where you're going. Almost everybody has found that it's been very helpful for them. And so, and again, I'm not encouraging you to go buy a half an hour or an hour. I'm just saying that it's there for people who want to do it. And the reason that I can't talk to everybody for free is because I just can't. Why would I spend 50 hours a week talking to people for free on stuff that, isn't going to make them any money, isn't going to make me any money. Why would I do that? I mean, so the interesting thing about that is that I've found that those people who do pay for the time they are well prepared, they're organized, they have some great information about what they're doing, and I've been able to help them in ways that, frankly, in a number of cases, they really didn't anticipate, and I'm grateful for that. I really do. I really do enjoy when the calls go well, and I do enjoy when there's an opportunity, and I'm looking forward to that. In fact, here in the next couple of months, you're going to find that I'm going to be expanding my opportunities to interact with people, as I have a bunch of other opportunities that I'm working on that will allow me the luxury of the time to be able to do more of that. So I'm looking forward to doing that, and I'm looking forward to interacting with folks. But I do find still that if you have nothing invested, then you don't bring anything to the opportunity. You don't bring anything to the meeting. Other than, hey, I had this great idea for this. Well, that's actually been done. It's called this or it's called that. And okay, well, thanks. Okay, well, people that have free calls are like that. People that end up paying for the time, go through the trouble of actually researching. They're going to do their work. It's rare that I find somebody that isn't prepared, and I love it. I mean, I love working with you guys, and I have a call tomorrow with somebody who scheduled a call, and I love it. And I know this guy tomorrow, and I'm not going to give you his name, but this guy tomorrow has got a great idea. I love it, and so on YouTube, they're talking about my Lamy Safari. So up here in my pocket. So I'm also wearing my Ode to Kevin O'Leary red watch band. So this is a Barton watch band. I don't know which brand Kevin prefers, but I am now accessorizing through the Kevin O'Leary model. So Kevin, I messaged you directly. If you send me your Cash App, I'll send you my $2 every time I wear the watch and pair it with my red Lamy pen, which matches nicely actually. So I'm willing to send you $2 every time I wear the watch if you send me your Cash App ID, and it's the least I can do. Call it a royalty for infringing on your preference for red watch bands, and I like it. I mean, I like the Kevin O'Leary model, so it's nice. But getting back to the calls, there are like three things that drive me nuts. So one is sorry, trying to make sure this thing doesn't go out. Relighting is always a problem. So there are three things that drive me nuts. So the first thing is what I talked about people that want me to review their pitch deck or their opportunity for free. Well, I just can't do that. I mean, it doesn't make sense. I'm willing to invest my time, which is infinitely more valuable than whatever money you're parting with to be able to do that. And but you have to be willing to invest the money and the time in order to be able to do that. And I'm happy. Anybody, literally anybody in the world can go on GordonMiller.com, click on the booking link, and book a call. Pay your small fee, and I'll be glad to work with you. And I enjoy it. I love it. So the second thing that drives me nuts is the Nigerian romance scams. So look, I appreciate all you guys that are 40 years old in Lagos or wherever else in Nigeria, and you got some hot-looking female picture profile with no post except for the last 4 days and everything else. And you think I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread. Well, thanks a lot. I appreciate that. But you know what? I'm not stupid enough to send you money, so just leave me alone, okay? And the third one is the fact that is Bitcoin and Forex traders, which continue to be providing sort of scam packages. Give me $1,000 of your money, I'll invest it, and blah blah blah. Look, guys, just so you guys know, anybody with Bitcoin or Forex in your profile, anybody who's posting that they've got some package, I'm just going to report you as spam on Instagram, on YouTube, on LinkedIn, whatever it is. I'm just going to report you because I'm not, first of all, I got out of Forex trading back in December 17th of 17. I'm sorry, not Forex trading. I got out of Bitcoin back in December 17th, right before the crash. And so, it's ridiculous in terms of people that are continuing to hang on to the delusion that Bitcoin and some of the other ones are going to continue to be valuable at any point in the future. It's just not going to happen. And okay, so I also went on record early on as saying the internet was never going to be a thing either. So, I've been wrong a couple of times in my history. My thing with the internet was we had, this is in 1994 that I was quoted, and I was doing full screen, full motion video with hardware assisted digital video cards at 640 by 480 at 30 frames a second, which was a lot back then in 1994. And, if you wanted to do streamed video, you were talking about 160 by 120 video at 15 frames a second. And I just simply said that, if that's the quality of video that we're going to see on the internet, then, nobody's going to go back to postage stamp size video. And I was wrong. People went back to postage stamp size video for, close to 10 years as it went from 160 by 120 to 320 by 240 to 640 by 480 at 15 and then 30 frames. And then now we've got 4K video streaming and so on, and even 8K video resolution. So, it's come a long way in the last 30 years. But, again, it wasn't that way 30 years ago. It just, 25 years ago. It just wasn't. And so I didn't think that people would take a 5 or 10 year setback in order to be able to, in order to stream. And I was wrong. So, I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again, I'm sure. So anyway, so what I wanted to do was help people understand for a minute just what the pieces are in the equation for the business, what I call the business ecosystem. Sorry, went out. So anyway, the business ecosystem, something cold because it's so hot out here too. But anyway, so the business ecosystem that most people are familiar with is when you start your business, you get your friends and family around, and you borrow money from your friends and family, which is pretty common. And most businesses who don't have a friends and family around, that can't get their own friends and family interested, aren't really going to get investors interested either. If you don't have at least, 2 or 3 people in your extended family, I don't care if your mom doesn't have any money, if mom hasn't maxed out her credit cards and you haven't maxed out your credit cards and you haven't invested in your own business, nobody else is going to either. And it kills me that people believe that sorry, my friends and family don't have any money. Well, I get that, but understand, you're not going to get angel investors or venture capital or even in a lot of cases crowdfunding interested in your product if you don't have any actual direct anything directly at stake either. And so people come to me and they're just like, how much have you got, how much have you got invested? Oh, I invested about $20,000, or I invested like 2 years of sweat equity. You know what? Sweat equity doesn't mean anything. I mean, you were working a full-time job and you work this other thing on the weekends and at night and stuff like that. That's great. And I'm not saying that that's not great. I'm just saying that doesn't count towards all the money that needs to go towards making this thing happen. If you have a 401k with more than $1 in it, and you are trying to get your dream to come true, but you expect investors to make that dream come true for you, don't do that, because it's not going to happen. Investors are going to, they're going to give you this, the standard line, and I've posted about this before. And the thing is that people are going to be like, oh yeah, oh, we'd love to invest alongside somebody else. We just don't want to be the primary one. We this, that, or the other. And then when you come back to them, they're like, oh, you know what, our funding profile's changed or whatever. Those people weren't going to invest anyway, before. So, stop being so misled by people giving you false promises. And I think that's the one thing that, I enjoy most about helping the people that I've helped is that people are like, they'll be like, okay, look, um, you know, what do you think about this opportunity? And I'll say, you know what, I think it's great. I think that you need somebody, you need a strategic partner, you need somebody that's got some experience in this. In most cases, people get the wrong type of money too. They get money from investors that have no additional benefit other than their money, and then the investors are kind of concerned when it doesn't go as planned, but the investor didn't really add any value. The investor had money, but the money itself isn't enough of a reason. I have an extensive network of over 8,000, almost 9,000 people on LinkedIn, and I have almost 300,000 people on Quora, and several thousand people on YouTube and Instagram combined. So, for me, I can put stuff out there, and typically I'll have somebody who will be interested. And those people typically have connections in whatever industry it is. And I also know key people that I can reach out to and be able to put people in touch with people. So you have to be able to bring more to the table than just money. And unfortunately, most investors only bring money to the table. And that's where people go wrong by accepting their money. You don't need their money. You need their contacts. You need their ability to make things happen. So that's friends and family. You have to at least you have to convince 1 to 3 people to put some money in. Typically, we see about between 10 and 20,000 to as much as $50,000. I had a deal the other day, and I talked about it earlier on another video, where I was talking about the fact that they didn't have their documents together. They didn't have their software licensing agreements. They didn't have their cap table agreements. They didn't have a lot of things together they really needed. They really were unprepared to receive funding. And all that stuff is really going to come out in due diligence. And I'm a master at due diligence. I love, that aspect of the deal. And in fact, if you look at Shark Tank, a fraction of the people that appear on Shark Tank actually get a deal on TV. Well, from the people who get a deal on TV, 90% of those people never actually receive any money because they fail the due diligence round afterwards. And of course, there's always outs for everybody, and there's always, an opportunity to, not have to invest, even if they say they're going to invest on TV. So, don't be fooled by the hugs and everything else. I mean, it's unfortunate, but thanks, Hassan. I appreciate that. Hassan writes, one of the best talks or advices as always. Appreciate that. Thank you, man. I mean, I gave a lot of thought to this. So I posted something on my Instagram, which talks about the ecosystem for business. I began to kind of chart this thing out that talks about the path from angel investors to venture capital, private equity, to investment banking, to either ICO for coins or IPOs for companies, and understanding that whole ecosystem. There is an enormous ecosystem, and there's a process to this. And you're in the first step on this process. And I saw, a great movie the other day about Facebook, and I forget which one it was, but it talks about or actually it was a documentary, I guess, about Facebook, not a movie, but they were talking about the fact that in 06, 07, that Zuckerberg turned down $1 billion from Yahoo in order to be able to continue doing what he's doing. And so I'm not a huge Facebook fan, just in general. It's called Hate Book for a reason. After the 2016 election, I'm completely off Facebook. I need to log in every now and then just to make sure that my family members are still alive. But the reality is that I can't stand it during an election cycle. I'm definitely not logging in before the November election cycle. For me, the problem that most companies have is that they take the early money. They had an opportunity to sell Facebook early on for millions, and then they had a chance to sell Facebook to Yahoo in '06, '07 for $1 billion, and they said no. They wanted to continue building what they were building, and I love it. I mean, I love the fact that Zuckerberg stuck it out and continued down that path, and then eventually ended up going public and became a public company. But most of you are not going to go public. But even the ones who don't go public, or even some of the public companies that end up being taken private with private equity money and using leverage from investment banking and other things like that, or private banks. That post that I made on Instagram talks about the ecosystem that's involved in all that. Even if you're only going to be in this lower end of the ecosystem, you're only going to be in the friends and family round, you're going to crowdsource some things, you're going to get some angel investment, you might make your way up to some VC, then it's okay. But you need to know where you are in that flow chart. You need to understand that piece of the puzzle and how the other pieces fit in. A lot of you are wasting all sorts of time reaching out to people in private equity and venture capital, and you're like, hey man, I got this great app or this great idea or this great thing, and so the problem is that you're wasting time pitching to the wrong people. I see this all the time. You can't do that. I mean, you can't waste a contact. Plus, first of all, you're going to burn them because they're like, hey, look, I'm in private equity, we do $100 million deal, or I'm in venture capital, we do $5 or $10 million deals, and you're looking for $500,000. You can't burn somebody who's in the ecosystem because you didn't do your research on who they are or where they are in the overall process. You have to understand and respect the process. And I think that's the drawback or the failure for most people out there. Johnny Walker Blue and a cigar. Can't beat that. So my first piece of advice for today is, is first of all, if you don't know what that process is, if you don't know where you are on the path, you don't know even what the path is or who the players are, then working with somebody like myself, and I'm not saying call me or go to my website at gordonmiller.com, click on booking and book a call. I don't care if you book a call or not. It's not going to change my life at all. It may change your life, but it's not going to change my life. But the issue that I have is that people don't understand what the right strategy is for what they want to accomplish. And so you have to definitely understand where the ecosystem is that supports the kind of activity that you want to do and how to get at those people and how to be able to make that make sense for them so that they become interested in what it is you want to do. And I think you have to invest some time and some effort, and in some cases, some money in being able to do that. As far as the Forex traders and the Bitcoin people and all the other stuff that's scamming people out of money, for God's sake, don't put $1,000 into that. I mean, that is nothing but the worst possible Ponzi scheme, bullshit, backwater, deal, out there. I mean, people are like, hey, give me $1,000, I'll give you 7,500 back. Are you kidding me? I mean, come on. I mean, you all are smarter than that. Don't be that stupid. And there are people that are like, oh yeah, and they're like, oh, people posted reviews that they got their money back. Well, of course some people got their money back. It's ridiculous. But these types of things go on all the time. And I don't want you guys to try to take that path to getting things done. It's not going to result in anything positive for you. Okay, so we talked about the ecosystem. We talked about needing to get your friends and family involved. We talked about, that's really going to determine whether or not you get venture capital or other people interested in your opportunity. If you can't get venture capital interested, then you're not going to ever get to private equity. And if you don't ever get to private equity, you'll never get to go public. Or if you're already public and wish you never went public, which some people do, then you need private equity to take you private, and you need investment banking resources to leverage that. So there are lots of different ways to do that. Of course, there's hedge fund managers as well, and lots of funds out there. But it's a fairly broad ecosystem, and you need to at least understand, at least that the whole picture exists, and then what it is that what part of it you exist in. Because I've seen companies go from friends and family around to angel investors that then got them to venture capital, that got them to private equity, that got them to going public, that then they had other private equity people take them private again. And it's a great process. I mean, there's lots of different pieces to the whole puzzle, and so I think it's important that everybody gets a chance to understand sort of what the cyclical nature and the cycle is for those types of opportunities. All right, my cigar went out again. So let me see what kind of questions we got here. I went through the first half an hour. It's been 30 minutes now. So let's take a look at some of the questions. Wow, my comment about spam got blocked by YouTube. Nice, thank you. Let's see here. I'll take Venmo if you don't do Bitcoin. Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that, Singh. A lot of experts also had a lot to say about the scalability of solid state drives, but you never know, do you? Yeah, no, it's solid state is here to stay for sure. The drives on a chip are the ones I love. I mean, forget the solid state drives. I love the ones that are about the size of RAM chips that are amazing. Someone got their money back, or someone got given $10 to post a review. Yeah, no, unfortunately not, at least not in my case. I mean, I don't pay anybody to post positive reviews on me. So speaking of Bitcoin scams, what do you think of the 17-year-old kid in Florida who hacked all those big name Twitter accounts? I don't know. I'm not aware of any of that. So I don't, thankfully I don't follow most of that stuff. It's not something I care to worry about. Please start writing on Quora. Again, never stopped writing that much as you used to. Well, actually, Moit, I post almost every day. So you have to go to my profile at Gordon-Miller-21 on Quora and follow my profile and follow my space, The Truth Unfiltered, in order to be able to make sure that you see all my stuff. I post every day. Quora has been limiting the people that receive my stuff, so. So, yeah. Can't believe that even out here, my stupid phone is thermally just being destroyed. So because it's so hot out here. Thanks for that, Tushara. I appreciate that. I appreciate the constructive talk. Quora posts are super. At what point in this process do you believe it's time to pay for professional services from attorneys or accountants, etc.? Hey, Joey, how you doing, brother? I miss you, man. We got to do lunch sometime. Reach out to me, direct message me, Joey. Let's, there are a few places open here in town. Let's do lunch. And So I'm either good for Maggianos or Hondos. Um, Already a follower of Gordon Miller. Sometimes I love your comments more than your answers. Yeah, no. So I appreciate that, Moit. I love making my comments, and my comments I think provide some context or some further information for my answers. So I'm glad you like those. I put a lot of thought and effort into those. But on Instagram here, so Joey, you and I have known each other a long time, and I love you, brother, and I mean that. So. The one thing that my father always said was that the best money in the world you ever are going to spend is going to be on your attorneys and your accountants. And that was the best advice I ever got from my father. I mean, he only provided, I would say, 5 or 6 really good pieces of information or advice. And so the, but for sure, accountants and attorneys are the best. I mean, I've been, I've had years where, my bill for my accountant is like $20,000 for, doing our taxes. But our return, because of the way it's set up, and we have either lost carryovers or we have some other opportunities, we save like $100,000 in taxes. And so, my net is still $80,000. I mean, I pay my accountants. I get a check from the IRS for $100,000, and I keep $80,000 of the 100. So, it's pretty it's pretty nice when you have great accountants, attorneys and accountants are definitely the best. So I have a question from YouTube about what do I think about the TikTok acquisition from Microsoft. So I have partners in Asia, especially in China, who are concerned about the implication of banning TikTok in the U.S. Of course, it's not banned yet, and but it certainly could be. They have 45 days or something like that to work that shit out. And I would imagine that Microsoft buys all sorts of shit. They bought LinkedIn, they bought all sorts of things. I'm sure if they're interested, they'll buy TikTok, just so they can, again, they paid like $10 a user for LinkedIn, when the going rate for user contacts alone in the secondary market is $20. So Microsoft basically got a 50% discount on all those users. So, I would expect there to be a similar deal for however many users there are on TikTok, for Microsoft to be able to do that as well. So we'll see. I don't happen to have a concern about the Chinese government, collecting data on anybody. So I'm not worried about that. I have friends in China, and I'm not worried about what the Chinese government does. It's just not an issue for me. So anyway, as a 21-year-old who's just starting his career, how should I start investing so that I can retire early and live a relaxing lifestyle? Software engineer in my career, if it helps. So Mohit, I'll give you the same advice that I've had on a number of other things. So you can look on my other videos. This is on YouTube, the question from YouTube. So my YouTube channel has over 50 hours of content now, and I'm sure it's probably approaching 60 hours. I haven't actually totaled it up here recently. But the benefit, there's a whole video on investing and things like that, but it's pretty simple. My strategy for investing is live on about half of what you make if you can. At the very least, invest 10% or to 20% of what you make, save and invest. And at the very least, you need to put $1,000 a month away for 40 years. So if you start when you're 20 and you go until you're 60, that's 40 years. Then by the time you're 60, you'll have about $1.8 million well invested. Now, what does well invested mean? It means an index fund of the Dow and the S&P 500. Even though it's been down here recently, it recovered quickly and it's continuing to grow. And you'll find that the returns recently have been 18, 20, 22, 24%. It's still a good strategy. And again, your dollar cost averaging over 40 years, so it really doesn't matter. It's about putting that $1,000 a month into the account. You need an index fund, in a money market, or a Roth IRA, in a no-load mutual fund that's going to be able to do that. You can either do Fidelity or E-Trade, or a number of the other different different providers out there. So, let's see. Tusharsa says, as investor, any good pitch advice? So I do. I think the number one pitch advice. So I've reviewed 10,000 pitch decks in my career so far, just over a 2-year period from December of 2016 to December of 2018. So during that 2-year period on Quora, I had people send me ideas, and I received over 10,000 submissions total back and forth. So 10,000 emails. And in fact, I think I've actually posted a picture of my inbox. It had like 60,000, emails in my inbox. And there's if you search on YouTube, Gordon Miller pitch deck, you'll find my video on the perfect pitch deck. I forget what number it is, but it tells you about the 10 slides that you need to have a successful pitch deck. If you follow the advice on those, then you should be in good shape. Most people get them out of order. Most people don't focus on what's important. And for me, there's like 3 major ones that are the most important. And most people mess those up, and those are the ones that are the killers. So in terms of actual pitching, it's you really have to be comfortable talking about your stuff. You have to know your numbers. People are going to ask you questions. You have to be able to answer. And, it just is what it is. So, super to hear 10K. I don't know what that means. But I think that the biggest problem is that people are living on 110% of what they make. And so they're not saving anything. They're putting the extra money up for their lifestyle and their credit cards, and they're not investing. They're not saving. They're not building wealth. They're not taking advantage of compound interest. They're not doing anything that will help get them to where they need to be. And I think that's part of the problem. So, people need to stop driving expensive cars they can't afford. They need to stop going out to eat all the time. They need to stop living in houses they can't afford. You don't need a $500,000 house. Buy a $350,000 house, or buy a $275,000 house, whatever. And, take that extra $1,000 a month that you're going to save from somewhere. People are eating out to the point where if you eat out, 8 times a month, Friday, Saturday night, whatever, and it's $100 for you and your girlfriend or your wife or whatever, or both, then that's $1,000 right there. If you're living in a house that's, $550 instead of $275,000, you're spending an extra $1,000 a month in mortgage. Don't do that. Don't live in a house that you really can't afford if you're not going to be able to save and invest for the future. You need to be able to do that. So, what number's most important for the investors when you say numbers? Well, the numbers are going to be, so most everybody, in terms of their financial projections, they're going to be making up what their financial projections are, because they're just projections. And so most of all that is just complete bogus bullshit anyway. So I don't believe in anybody's projections, because nobody ever hits their projections. And, if you ever make a deal that, that is based on, if you're stupid enough to sign some kind of agreement where you have to hit your milestones and you have to hit your revenue numbers, and you don't hit them because you're not going to hit them, and you end up losing extra equity, it's your own goddamn fault. So, but can you believe Apple has gained 300 billion in market cap in the last 4 trading days? Yeah, no, I do. Question from YouTube about Apple. Apple is well positioned. In fact, here recently, as I posted on Instagram the other day, I moved to a MacBook Air, one of the new ones, and my 4K display, and an Anchor hub, which I find has been phenomenal, and I love it. I mean, I'm in the Apple ecosystem. I got my iPad, I got my iPhone, I got my Apple Watch, I got my AirPods, I got everything else as part of the ecosystem, and it was just easier for me to just finally move to having an Apple product as my laptop that then is working as my desktop as well. And I even returned my Microsoft Surface Go 2, which I really enjoyed because it had 4K connectivity and had a bunch of other stuff. But it really just there wasn't any opportunity there. I mean, I think there was a lot of opportunity with working in a given ecosystem. So, all right, in New Zealand, average house cost is around 700,000, but pay is not good. Well, so let me address that because I get that. I agree when you bogus. I don't know what that means. Uh, so the so let's talk about how expensive it is to live in a certain place. So New Zealand and Australia and places like that are very expensive, but it's a big world out there. I mean, I have friends all over the world, thank God. I mean, I love the fact that I have the kind of relationship I have with people in Indonesia, in Jakarta, especially in Bali, in places, for my friends in Singapore or Hong Kong or Tokyo, it's very expensive. But I have friends in South America, I have friends in Eastern Europe. There are places in this world that you can live for $1,000 a month. You don't need to live in New York City or in some places, where it costs $10,000 a month to live, and so there are ways. You can get on a plane and you can go somewhere else. It doesn't necessarily require that you stay wherever you are. It's a big world out there. So I agree when you say bogus about number projections. Oh, okay. Right. So I appreciate that. So, no, I mean, most financial projections are just your best guess at what you're going to do. Sometimes they're conservative, sometimes they're not. But in most cases, they're not an accurate reflection of what you're actually going to end up doing. And that's not a statement on the fact that you're a lying sack of shit or anything else like that. It just means that, you don't know what you don't know, and you can't control the environment. And those projections are simply what they are. And I'm comfortable with that. And most investors, most disciplined investors, understand that most of that's bullshit. The real important thing is getting the business model right, understanding the problem that you solve, and figuring out how to generate revenue. Most of the problems are not, about, things like financial projections. If you got the problem right and you got the solution right and you got the mechanism right to be able to generate money, you'll eventually generate the money that you anticipate being able to generate. So, all right, let's see what we got here. All right. Do you think any of the manufacturers is going to move out of China due to COVID-19? So that's a great question. So the question from YouTube about is manufacturing going to move out of China? So I do believe that there is the relationship between the U.S. and China is continuing to de-evolve, which I think is harmful in the long term to the U.S. I have friends in China and in Singapore and Hong Kong, and I think that the U.S. right now, the U.S. policy towards China is in the short term to the advantage of America, but in the long term, not in anybody's best interest. My problem with the current strategy is that it's going to end up driving opportunity to India. Now, there's nothing wrong with India, and so I want to go on record with people that continue to say that I am against India. I am not against India. I have posted my specific concerns with India from everything from power and water infrastructure to the availability of health care to the roads and transportation system to the corruption in the government to the amount of crime and the issue with respect for women and things like that. You know, those are all facts. I mean, it's not my opinion. It's the reality of where India is at. You know, there is a third of the population of 1.2 billion people that are illiterate. There's a bunch of issues that India needs to solve. And there's about a third of the people in India that recognize the fact that I'm right. And there's about 2/3 of the people that want to see me hung and burned because I'm an infidel and an idiot and an asshole and I hate people in India. I don't hate people in India. I hate the situation in India that's leading to the fact that it's creating a problem that keeps money from being able to flow into India. So I sold my second company that I founded in 1999 to majority Indian investors in 2003 and remained on the board until 2014. And I left the company because I didn't believe in what they were doing. I didn't believe that what they were doing was either right or legal. And so as such, I left the company. I wasn't going to be associated with something that I thought was marginal, and I use marginal in air quotes because it wasn't marginal, it was illegal. And I was not going to do anything that was illegal in the pursuit of making money. I don't need to make money that badly to be able to do something that is clearly illegal. And so for me, that didn't bother them. They didn't care if it was illegal as long as they didn't get caught. And so, for me, that's not a good enough excuse to do something that they knew was wrong. And so for me, I don't believe that the people in India have a perspective on what needs to happen in India in order to secure benefits in the long run. They don't understand that what they're doing right now is creating a situation where the poor people in India are getting more poor and the rich people in India are getting richer, and it's increasing the gap between the people in the middle. And because they're okay with that as long as they're the ones getting richer. And I refuse to accept that. That is unacceptable as far as I'm concerned. And I think it's reprehensible. Hey, Christopher on YouTube. Christopher's from Miami. Thanks, Christopher. I appreciate it. I love Miami. So first of all, I look forward to coming down there here as soon as I can, especially as we get closer to fall and winter. I am a huge fan of Miami. Love South Beach. My mom lived down in Florida for a long time, so steaks and scotch on me, my friend. Well, hey, Chris, thanks, buddy. I appreciate that. Here, Johnny Walker Blue Scotch cigars. So when I'm in Miami, I stay at East in Brickell, and I'm always at Club Macanudo. So for me, there's just nothing better. So I appreciate that, man. Thanks. All right, let's see here. Message retracted. What did you retract, man? All right. So Gordon, any plans to visit Tunisia in North Africa? How can we reach you? All right, sure. Hang on a second. I'll tell you. Please talk more about India. I like to hear more. Okay, I will. Hang on a second. Spelling mistake, retracted. Okay, all good. So, so first of all, there are very few places that I enjoy as much as Miami. I love Miami. In fact, at some point, you'll probably find my ass relocated down to somewhere between Jupiter all the way down to Miami Beach, just because there's just not much better than that. So in terms of next time I'm there, for sure, man, I'll reach out to you on YouTube and we'll sync up. So in terms of how to get a hold of me, so let's talk about that. So obviously you can leave a comment, and you can message me on YouTube. A lot of people direct message me on Instagram. There's also you can in my profile on Instagram and YouTube, I have my LinkedIn, which is growing very rapidly, almost 9,000 people now as part of my network, my professional network. So I look forward to continuing to connect with people on Instagram. I think it's a great opportunity. I have created lots of opportunities for people. If you look at my reviews on Instagram, I'm sorry, on LinkedIn, the referrals and the recommendations and stuff like that that people have created. People who scheduled calls, they went to gordonmiller.com, click on the booking link, schedule a call. Anybody in the world who wants, you want to talk to me, you want to talk about whatever you're doing, you want, some direct time. Some of these, cases, I've had people go live during my live session on Instagram at live at 5. And we've talked about their stuff, publicly. If you want some private time, you can always go to gordonmiller.com and you can always book a call. I don't have any, if you're willing to pay for the time, I'm willing to schedule it, and I'm willing to do whatever. And it just is what it is. I mean, I'm happy to spend the time with you. And even the people who booked it and didn't really know what they were going to answer or what they were going to ask, and they didn't know what they expected out of the call, all got something from the opportunity. So, which is great. I mean, I look forward to that. I mean, I look forward to every call, and every call is a new opportunity. And in almost every case, with maybe one or two exceptions, I've been able to hook them up with other people in my network and being able to connect people to opportunities. And that's really what I prefer to do in a lot of these cases, and create some additional opportunities going forward. So, but Christopher, you know what? I tell you what, I should be in Miami soon. I got some partners in New York and Los Angeles and other parts of Asia that are, said that they've got some opportunities down in Miami that I need to go take a look at. I love it down there. I will definitely take you up on your offer if the offer still stands. Yeah, so we got about 3 minutes left. So let me take a look and see what we got here on Instagram. Instagram is about to leave us in 3 minutes. So if you want to, you can switch over to YouTube, youtube.com/Gordon Miller. Shokin asked, how's my workout going? Not bad. I had some really great experiences working on stuff over the last couple of weeks, and I'm out swimming, swam for an hour a couple times, so it's great. So support you in your India comment. I'm from India. Just so everyone knows, your current government is different, and they're working on improving, but it will take time. I respect that too. I mean, stuff doesn't change overnight, but I appreciate the people who are intellectually honest about that. You told to move to inexpensive places from expensive places like New Zealand. However, how one start their career again in a new country? Well, it depends on what your career area is. And I'm getting my 2-minute warning from Instagram here. So as far as how I assess the pitches, so moving to a different place, you have to have something that's portable in terms of your particular capability, and whether you can work remotely. So it doesn't work for everybody, but it works for some people. And how do I assess the pitches? I have my own proprietary strategy for what I'm looking for in the pitches. So it's not something I can go into here in the next minute and a half. But if you want to schedule a call and have me review your stuff, I'll be glad to give you the feedback in our half-hour or hour-long call, whatever it is. I can't remember how I found your account. Are you on Quora? Yeah, Dylan, I'm on Quora. You could say I'm on Quora. I'm the 9th most viewed person on the platform, and I have over 146 million views and about 300,000 followers. So yeah, you could say I'm on Quora. So we're about to sign off on Instagram. So this is it. Going down to the last 45 seconds. So, so you can switch over to YouTube if you want, youtube.com/Gordon Miller. The opportunity, I'm going to continue to try to go live at 5 as often as I can. Can't always do it. I got a lot of stuff going on, pretty busy these days. But understand that if you want to reach out, you can go to gordonmiller.com. You can always schedule a call anytime you want. And I will go live again soon, and appreciate that. Everything's here. All the stuff's going to get posted live, and we'll continue to go through this as we go. So thank you all very much. Appreciate it. And peace. All right, hang on just a second, guys. Hey, guys. All right, so let's see what we got here. All right. Let's see here. So going back to YouTube, checking out the comments. So Christopher says, planning on scheduling a call with you. Thanks, Chris. I appreciate it. Look forward to it. Speaking of scotch, have you ever tried Oban? No, I haven't. So I'm a real, I don't like scotch all that much. There's Glenlivet 21 and Johnny Walker Blue that I can stand, and that's really about it. Picked that up from Costco a couple of years ago. Excellent. All right. Scheduling a call and paying a retainer, I understand, and I value. Not that often can we get a one-on-one with a visionary like you. Well, thanks, Christopher. I appreciate that. Again, I appreciate the kudos and the praise. For me, it isn't so much about being a visionary. It's about, being available. And I've had 35 years of experience. I have a lot of things I think I can provide some context for, and I look forward to all the calls. But for sure, I try to make the most of every call. I try not to hold it to 30 minutes or an hour if I can help it, as long as I'm not backed up against some other appointment. But, I really do feel like each of these calls is a real opportunity. I get something out of each of the calls, and I hope everybody else does as well. So I do think that I am one of the few people, and I'm not saying I'm on, Kevin O'Leary or Mark Cuban's level, but, you can't just schedule a call with Mark Cuban and spend a half an hour with Mark Cuban at any price, or Kevin O'Leary, which is kind of a shame. With all due respect to Uncle Kevin and to those guys, I don't care if it's $10,000 for 30 minutes. I tell you what, I would pay $10,000 for 30 minutes with Mark Cuban, and it's a shame that Mark, doesn't do that. So, AJ Baylock, it is indeed, but I have been a sucker for another 16-year-old Scotch, and always will be. Yep, Oban. We're going to be in touch soon. Thanks, Chris. I appreciate it, man. Consider you a visionary. I appreciate that, and a great guy. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. What's your opinion on cannabis legislation, and how would you look at people who start chasing money before they're even 23 to 25? All right. Well, we'll take cannabis and then chasing money here in a minute. Hey, I'm from India, and an eventual heir to an automotive component manufacturing facility. Things are definitely changing, and especially for small businesses, but they're still far from perfect. Well, Singh, I appreciate that. I really do. I mean, I have a lot of respect. So first of all, your last name is Singh. So the fact that, the Sikh religion is one of my favorites, aside, between Buddhism and Shintoism and the Sikh religion, I have an enormous amount of respect. I think, there are not many people that I have that type of admiration for, and so I appreciate that. I really do. Coming from you, you're being intellectually honest about it, and you're also a great individual. So I appreciate that. So what do you think about AMD China CEO refusing to step down after getting fired? Well, nobody likes to step down. So, all right. So we got chasing money, and we've got what else? I forget here. Oh, cannabis and chasing money. All right. Let's talk about those. So, man, my cigar keeps going out. It is no fun and it's coming unraveled too because it's so hot out here. But let me grab some water here too. All right, so chasing money. Cannabis. Yeah, no, I know what cannabis is, man. Weed. Got it. So, in fact, I've been working with folks who are in the cannabis industry for over 10 years. And it's an industry that I have purposely stayed out of because it's not legal everywhere here in the United States. And so I'm not interested in getting into a business that's not legal in all 50 states. I don't need that kind of, hassle in my life. So I do think that there are enormous opportunities in that space. And I think that there are people that are taking good advantage of that. As a chronic arthritis sufferer, I have stage 4 arthritis, and I have chronic knee and back pain to the point where if there was a medical solution that was effective, whether that's an oil extract derivative or whether that was some other thing, I would certainly take a look at being prescribed something that worked better than opioids. Opioids don't work on me. I ever since my car accident in 1996, I've not used opioids at all. I was on opioids for about 2 years. It was the worst 2 years of my life. I quit them, all at one time, and I don't care to ever go back. And so, for me, I think that we've got a culture of addiction to things like painkillers here in the United States that I don't think does anybody any good. So if there were alternative prescription options and it was legal in every state, then I think that it would be a great opportunity. I think we're probably about between 10 and 20 years away, probably closer to 15 away from that kind of solution being legal in all 50 states here in the United States. Probably, thanks to COVID, probably close to 10 years. But, it's not going to happen. It'll happen in my lifetime. So marijuana will be legal in all 50 states in the United States before I'm dead, unless one of you motherfuckers try to kill me here in the next couple of years. But so the benefit is that if we're focused on the extracts and we focus on the combinations of CBD and THC and the benefit to being able to come up with alternative medications in order to be able to support that, I think we're going to end up with a phenomenal capability to address chronic pain in the United States. And those companies that were invested early will do pretty well. And so let's talk about, what the other question was, which is chasing money in your 20s. So first of all, I posted about this extensively here recently. And the worst thing in the world I ever did was focus on chasing money. Do not chase money. In fact, focus on the quality of life. Now, Gary Vaynerchuk's been posting on this. Gary V's been, very adamant about this. Don't you want to be happy? I just want to be happy. Do what makes you happy. And he's right. I mean, I think that a lot of people have been focused on, this is going to make me, I'm going to go from making 50,000 to 75,000 to 100,000 to 125 to 150 to 200 to 250 to 300 and so on. And they're going to do stuff that makes them money. Unfortunately, typically what happens is your lifestyle expands at the same rate as your income. And so what ends up happening is you end up spending all your extra money on your lifestyle, and you don't save the money, you don't invest the money, you don't do anything you should do with the money, and then unfortunately you end up with no money at the end of the trail. And I think that what happens if you're, now again, I'm a white male in my 50s. I'm 55. I'll be 56 in November. And if you're a white male in your 50s and you have a job, you should drop to your motherfucking knees right now and thank God that you have a job. Because you know what? The reality is that the most extinct employment species here in the world is the white male over 50, because you are now being replaced by 35-year-olds who will do twice the work for half the money, and nobody needs you anymore. Now, of course, there are people that will that work off the benefit of their experience and stuff like that. That's terrific, and I'm very lucky to have the opportunities that I have, so that I don't have to worry about that. But it's a reality for most people. The reality is that most people don't have something to fall back on. So people, especially during COVID, if you were in the service industry, you're a bartender or a waitress, or you worked in nail salons or hairdressers or massage, spas and things like that, you basically haven't made any money in the last 6 months. So it's a tough situation. And if you're a white male in a corporate environment and you're over 55, approaching 60, you can forget about it. I mean, there are people being laid off left and right in these wave of closures as these companies kind of adjust. They've sort of right-sized to what the opportunity is under COVID. You aren't being considered an asset during that. I don't care how much experience you get. So it's just a reality of the situation. So, well, let me see what the other comments are here. I got to get a little closer to the screen here so I can see it, and I'll scroll back up and see where we're at here. All right. Gordon, is that a Robusta cigar or is a Partagas? Let's have a Partagas in Miami. So Chris, this is, so I am a Cohiba. This is a Cohiba Black Edition Gigante Red Dot, and this is the closest thing you can get to an actual Habanos Cohiba here in the United States. So the Especials that you can get in Miami, oh my God, for sure. I'm a Monte Cristo number 2 guy. I'm a Padron 1964. I am a Cohiba Black Edition Gigante kind of guy. In fact, there's only one store in town here that brings these in for me. I'm the only one who buys them. And in fact, it's so funny. I got a call from the manager the other day at the store, and he's like, "Hey, I got a guy here that wants to buy 4 of your cigars." And I go, well, "Let me guess, is his name such and such?" And he goes, "Yeah, his name is Patrick." And I'm like, "Yeah, no, I recommended it. He's got somebody coming in, so, how many does he want?" He goes, "Oh, he wants 4. I'm like, "That's fine. I mean, you can sell them to the public. It doesn't matter." He goes, "Well, we bring them in special for you." And I go, I get that. I mean, I appreciate that. But I mean, you're welcome to bring them in and sell them to other people. And he goes, "Well, nobody else buys them except you." And in fact, I belong to a club, a cigar club here, private club, that they used to bring in my Padron 1964 torpedoes. And the funny thing was that they stopped bringing them in for a while, or they couldn't get them, or they didn't have them. And so I would go into the club, and then when they didn't have them, I would actually turn around and leave. And the club owner was like, "Hey, gee, where are you going?" And I go, "Well, you don't have my cigar, so I'm going home." And he's like, "Well, dude, we got like 1,000 other cigars." And I'm like, "I don't care. I mean, you don't have the one I want to smoke. You don't carry, first of all, you don't carry my, Cohiba Black Edition Gigante, because this other store is the only one that does that. You don't have my Padron 1964 torpedoes, so I'm not interested in that. And I can't get an actual Monte Cristo number 2 Habanos, so, I'm not interested, sorry." And so I left. And, ever since then, they've always had a full box of, Padron 1964 torpedoes, so it's pretty funny. But I mean, you get used to smoking what you smoke. You enjoy it, and so. But Miami for sure is it's one of the reasons why I'll have a place on South Beach, or I have a place up in Jupiter or something like that, and I'll come down to Miami. I have friends. A good buddy of mine is the lead sales guy, Hank Carpenter at Ferrari of Fort Lauderdale. Amazing guy. They have great inventory. Just an unbelievable guy. So, they got one of the best Ferrari dealers in the United States. They got great, real estate in Jupiter that's about a third of the price of real estate in Miami. And they got the best cigars in the world down at Miami Beach, and, things like that. So, what's not to love? And when I'm staying in Brickell, like in downtown, I love staying at East. So it just is just, more than I can stand sometimes. All right, let's see what some of the other comments are here. Hang on a second. All right. How do you suggest one take advantage of an opportunity? It will soon be legal in my country, hopefully. So I don't really know. I mean, I don't know what the laws are in the other countries. So in terms of cannabis, I assume that's what the question references. I've been focusing on the oil extraction. So there are three different three different segments of the industry that I follow. One is the growers, and there are some amazing growers. So the best product that I've seen so far grow in warehouses that they buy 60,000 square foot warehouses. They put in a second tier. They grow in 2 layers. Because it's got like 20, 30-foot ceilings. They grow in 2 layers. They do it all inside, and it's like 120,000 square foot worth of growing in one place. Climate controlled, light, growth controlled, amazing stuff, unbelievable quality in terms of that. You have to be one of the top 3 growers in the industry if you're going to make any money. And these top 3 that are out there, and ironically, they're in Tennessee and North Carolina and in other places. They're not in Denver and California and other places necessarily where a lot of the distribution is. So the second piece of the cannabis industry is in distribution, and there's lots of distribution, but until it's legal in the United States and they can take all that cash and deposit it somewhere, it's not going to really be a phenomenal opportunity. That's really got to move forward. The third area of opportunity is going to be in oil extraction and in the combination of CBD and THC. You have to have at least 4% THC in order to activate the CBD, in order to have some type of positive reaction. So all the people that are focusing on all the CBD extracts and stuff like that, it's all complete bullshit. 90% of that stuff is just a placebo effect. It doesn't do anything. It's not worth it. You have to have a balance. And again, we had like 4% CBD and 4% THC back in the 60s. So the stuff today is like 97% CBD, and even some of the THC stuff is super high. You just can't do that. The product needs to have the right balance. We need to go back to the type of cannabis that we had in the 60s and 70s that had the right kind of balance. And people are going to need to engineer this shit the right way in order for this stuff to be successful. And it just doesn't work any other way. Now, people can sell this shit all day long and hope they make money, but that's a very short path to success in those kind of situations. All right, let's see what we got here in other questions. All right, so let's see. I really appreciate the respect you offer my religion. I'm currently doing college in the States, and I possess immense respect for the way you talk. You taking initiative is rewarded in your country. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. So, so like I said, the Sikh religion is among. I have friends that have I've made whose kids play on my son's soccer team and things like that, and basketball team that were members of the Sikh community. We have a fairly large Sikh community here, and I have to say I mean, waking up at 5:30, getting up early, the respect and the focus, and the gold bracelet, the whole head scarf and everything else, the understanding, the discipline, and the respect that the Sikh community has for themselves and for each other and for humanity in general, I think is often missed by most people. It is not lost on me, my friend. I have an enormous amount of respect for everybody in the Sikh community. I love you guys, and I look forward. Again, I don't know if I'm allowed to participate in any of the religious ceremonies. I would love to be a part of some Sikh service sometime and be a part of that. So it's phenomenal. So let's see what we got here. So Christopher says, I look 39. Well, thanks. I appreciate that. So, I always like to say, so I'm 55. I'd like to think I look 45. I feel like I'm 35, and I enjoy life like I'm 25. So I enjoy working with young entrepreneurs in their 20s. I mentor roughly about 50 entrepreneurs right now, and I love working with people in that generation, from 20 to 30, just because I think that you guys have a great energy and things like that are part of that. So I really appreciate the fact that I mean, I don't think I look 39, but I'll take 45, but for me, it's really about making the most of the time that you have. I'd like to think that it's all about your attitude and your personality, and things like that. So I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. That means a lot to me. So let's see what we got here. What else? I know a pipeline welder, 72 years old, white male, still works 40 hours a week, feels like he did something wrong. So, he did. I mean, first of all, pipeline welders are a very highly specialized group. And whether it's shipbuilding or pipeline assembly or things like that, welding is a very specific skill. And people are not signing up in droves to be a welder. But I tell you what, people that learn that skill of welding have enormous opportunities that lots of other people don't have. So that's understandable. If he's still working and he enjoys it, that's great. But if he's still working because he can't afford to retire, then he didn't do the right things during his 50 years of employment to be able to be able to do that. So, all right, let's see what else we got here. Cigar Heaven. Dinner for you and your wife at Prime 112 in Miami on me. Well, thanks, Chris. I appreciate that. I haven't been to Prime, but I understand it's amazing. So thank you. My wife rarely accompanies me on my trips. She's here taking care of the kids. Be careful. Many of the Canadian companies built massive growth facilities and subsequently had to write down assets and close operations because of COVID. Weed stocks are still down big. Yeah, well, that's because they were overvalued to begin with. So, I get that. Can women in the workforce cause an excess supply of candidates and cause overall income at home to remain the same over a long term? Heard this by someone. So, women in the workforce is an interesting situation. I'll come back to that here in just a second. Sikhs are some of the nicest people I've ever met. You're right, Chris. It really is. I mean, the Sikh religion is amazing. They're the most godly people I know, and I'm Catholic, and we pretend that we invented God. So, what, according to you, is the correct age to start your own business, given that work has become stagnant and money is no more motivation factor, considering my salary, 150? Well, so we'll get back to that here in a second. Also, since you have that much faith in the Sikh religion, do you know how many people Sikhs feed daily for free in India? If not, I request you look at that in your YouTube videos. You're going to love it. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I will look at that. It is reality to grow business with only cash in your business perspective as an investor. Yeah, so let's talk about that. So start your own business, given the stagnant. So and then women in the workforce. So let's take. We're going on like almost 90 minutes now. So and so I'm going to have to wrap up here. So these will be the last 3 questions I'll take. So as far as women in the workforce are the most amazing segment of the workforce. And that's why of the 50 or so entrepreneurs that I'm working with right now, I mentor a number of women. And it's because the women have the most opportunity to be able to get the most out of the opportunities. Women don't really appreciate the fact of how much power they control, how much opportunity there is, and what the real opportunities are. And so it's important to be able to connect them with opportunities. And it's it really is a great opportunity. It really is. So in terms of, let's see here. What's the other thing? Oh, starting a business with cash. So I think that the way you need to start a business, so when do you start a business? So I had my kids start their first business at age 10 and 11, and I have other videos on that, and so you can take a look at those. I think it's important to start the kids off young. I think, the best time to start your own business is right now. I don't care if you're 50 or 25 or 15. In fact, one of the best submissions I got out of the 10,000 pitches was a simple 3-paragraph email that didn't even have a pitch deck, and it was from a 16-year-old in Iowa, here in the United States. And I was like, man, this is like the best pitch I've ever had. But you're 16. I can't do anything for 2 years until you're 18. And I'm not going to go into business with your parents. But this is a great idea. I think you should pursue it. And I gave him some feedback, and we continue to work on the opportunities. And I think he's going to do really well. But in terms of starting a business with cash, I think that's exactly what you need to do. You need to focus on revenue. You need to focus on what it takes to, and service-oriented businesses can do that. And I think it's definitely 100% the way to go in terms of focus on building revenue, focus on having profit, focus on service-oriented or product-oriented businesses that you can have high margins in. All that is very important. So, all right. Well, my cigar is out for like the 3rd or 4th time now. Is it really grow a business with only cash? Yeah, we talked about that. Yep. So I will definitely research the Sikh religion and how many people they feed. I will not be surprised that it is an enormous number in India. So anyway, look, guys, I appreciate it. We're coming up on 88 minutes. So meeting length is 1 cigar, exactly. Unfortunately, it keeps going out. I mean, typically, my rule is that the meeting should last as long as 1 cigar, so which is about 90 minutes. So anyway, I want to say thanks. I love you guys. I appreciate everybody. I'm sorry that I haven't been able to go live at 5 any more frequently than I have. I have some enormous opportunities, some global opportunities that came my way, and I've been focusing on those. So I really cherish these opportunities. I hope everybody enjoys that. Christopher, I look forward to hooking up in Miami and doing dinner, grabbing a cigar and some scotch. And so if anybody wants to talk more directly on stuff one-on-one, you can always go to gordonmiller.com, click on the booking link and book your own call. It's probably the best money you'll ever spend on something. And again, like I said earlier in this video, it's not because I'm trying to make money 125 or 250 bucks at a time. It's because I've got hundreds of people a day or a week that are looking for my time. And if you don't believe in yourself enough to spend 125 or $250, then why should I spend the time to talk to you? But people who make the investment, and I'm 100% present for the opportunity, and I look forward to the calls, every single one of them. So thank you all very much. I love you guys. And if there's anything that you need, reach out and let me know. Thank you. Follow me on Instagram at gordon.miller, on YouTube at, I won't do the Graham Stephan thing of smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm, because this video has been ad-free anyway, so it's all good. I'm not monetizing my content. I'm not making any money from any of this. You know, it's not what I'm all about. So I am not here to make any money on this. I'm here to help you. So thank you all so much. Good night, and have a pleasant tomorrow.